What's up, everybody? Nick Piles, publisher of 1851franchise.com, here with another episode of Meet the Zor, where we introduce you to the stories of various franchise brands. Today, we are talking BeBalanced, coming up next. All right, David, we're starting with you. Frame it for us, and we'll get into the business. But what's your franchise story? How did you accidentally fall into franchising?
How did I accidentally? I definitely accidentally fall into it. I'm very kind of pumped from that introduction there, that beginning of your set there. It's got the music's getting me livened up here. My blood's flowing now. So.
That's good. Let's go.
Good. Yeah. So no, how I fell into it is that I will say I was always interested in health and wellness. I used to read Muscle and Fitness magazine as a kid and growing up and lifted weights and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't a major sports guy, but into that. And then my sister, believe it or not, got interested because of me in that. And then she got into the health and wellness field, was the director of a major health club. And she ended up starting her own business because she noticed that women, from all the thousands of women she had worked with over the years, noticed that a lot of them really struggled with, of course, they're typical as they age, the hormone-related issues of menopause, but at the same time, they were really following the diet and the exercise. They're really following everything and being strict with it, but we're still struggling with this stubborn weight. And she realized that it was something that was hormone related and developed a way through working with a naturopath and a nutritionist, a way to naturally balance these hormones, which solves two issues at the same time. It's solving the stubborn weight issue where they're able to lose this stubborn weight that they've been struggling with for years, and they're helping with that as well as relieving them of some of the menopausal symptoms like the hot flashes, the mood, the sleep, the energy. It's doing both at the same time. So it's kind of very impactful on the women. So, and she developed that. And even though it is focused on women, it does work for men as well. And so I ended up doing her program, and it was life-changing for me, lost a lot of weight. And I was like, wow, I ended up losing 115 pounds in 6 months. So it was but I did it in monthly segments because men can lose more. The women average between 15 and 22 pounds a month. And it's really because you're really setting the body up and giving the body all the tools to be able to reach these goals. And it's a little bit of a different approach for women, especially because of the hormone factor.
So. All right. So your sister sets up the business. She's into it because of you. You guys get it going. At what point do you decide to franchise it?
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. She wasn't into the hormone thing because of me. I just meant into general wellness. And then she did what she did. I said to her, Dawn, this is big. I mean, you're solving the biggest two issues women face as they age, stubborn weight and menopause symptoms, and you're doing it naturally and non-medically. That's a big deal. How do we get this out to the world? And her approach was, she was working with an agent. She had gotten on some national shows. She got on CBS's The Doctors. She was with A Healthy You with Carol All's a supermodel with Sports Illustrated supermodel that ended up having a health show. She got on with her. So she did some big shows, but we noticed that the reaction was great, but there wasn't a lot of activity. And I think the reason why, what I was thinking was, you know what? Stubborn weight, menopause symptoms, your hormones, this is a pretty personal subject, and it's an intimidating subject. So I think because of those two reasons, that wasn't the method to get it out. Like, hey, call the 800 number. That wasn't going to be the way. It was going to have to be a one-on-one, face-to-face, woman-to-woman. I understand how you're feeling. Let's talk privately. And that's where I felt that the franchise model was the best way to go, because you have an individual person dedicated to their community and growing the business in that community. So that's how we got into franchising.
What year do you guys franchise?
The first franchise, we really kind of got into the development of making it into a franchise, all the legal stuff. That was in 2014. So it was really 2015 that we decided, that we opened the first franchise. Yeah.
Okay. So I think about, obviously, for really a first to market business segment when it relates back to how does hormone balance and really just the chemistry makeup of a system. What are the deficiencies? So I'm going to park that over to the side. Okay. If I think through the last 12 months of what I've seen, You have a guy, Gary Brecka, who at 10X Health is out there speaking to the world about the deficiencies that sometimes you could exercise all you want, but if you haven't filled in the chemistry makeup of what's going on in your body, it won't do anything. You're going to lose weight. So now I see that. You think Hone Health of looking at hormones and measuring what's actually in the bloodstream. Think about like HIMS that goes from erectile dysfunction into holistic body, saying that there's other things that are happening here. And so now you see all of these businesses popping up into the scene. You're a first to market, and they're coming in, they're raising fast capital to get after this segment. And obviously, what I'm paying attention to from my seat is more of the male side, but my wife would be focusing on the female side, and both of us are getting hit with all these messages. You're a first to market. How do you stay as the leader in this category when everybody is now starting to come at you? And then how does it relate to where your vision goes from here?
Yeah, I will definitely tell you that that is very challenging. And it's funny because we just had one of our franchisees sent me 2 images. One of the, those funny cartoon images, and one of them was, it had 2 counters. One said lifestyle change and no one was standing there, and the other one said a pill. You know what I mean? And there was a million people in that line, or a woman and a doctor talking, and the doctor saying, hey, she's saying, your disease is because of your lifestyle. She said, should I change our lifestyle? And the doctor said, oh, no, I got a pill for it. So yes, the challenge is that general Americans want everything fast, and they don't really want to have to put any effort into it. But we believe that there is a segment. I'm not going to deny that the GLP-1s and the injections isn't a challenge, but it is different in the way that it's medical. There are side effects, there are dangers. People we're hearing it all the time. There's all kinds of lawsuits. Of course, there's too much money in it, so there's not going to be publicized, but there's definitely things where, thyroid cancer, your digestive system is being paralyzed, things like that. So a lot of bad things with it, but it's not really being promoted, and people want the quick fix. What we're saying, which is kind of ironic, is when you compare us to, it is challenging, compare it to GLP-1s and injections, we're actually faster in the weight loss, but it does take a commitment. You know what I mean? You have to do certain things, but we are faster in the weight loss, even, which is a good thing, but there's those challenges. So I would say the best way we could do is we really kind of focus on communicating to the world that if you don't want side effects, you want to do what's healthy, what's best for your body, what's natural for your body. We are that answer. Because a lot of these other things, even though they use the word wellness, a lot of them are not natural. They're prescriptions. They're medical things that have side effects and are not the best thing for your body. So,
okay. So you clearly have this nailed down, and I've seen you have this nailed down for a long time. How do you get that engine growing from a growth standpoint? What's the vision for franchisee acquisition?
Well, yeah, one of the things that we're working on now, and I'm surprised we didn't have it already, is a really good 2-minute video talking about what we do, having Dawn, my sister, the founder, Diane, our director of franchise development, speaking on that video. And I know that seems like an obvious thing, but I just don't know why we didn't get there, and we're working on it right now, because what I found is when it comes to the brokers and the people that we're dealing with directly, it's just an intimidating subject at first. And so it's very, very important for us to be able to communicate it. So if we do a video, we've controlled the narrative a little for the brokers. It gives them a break because they don't feel the pressure. We've definitely been told by franchise brokers and consultants that this is like, I'm a little bit intimidated with this subject. I'm going to get questions I can't answer right away. I'm going to get, I don't know how I can explain this. So we've definitely got that. So what we're working towards is the easiest way to educate and get that message out. That's what we're doing. We are looking at some development companies where we communicate maybe to like franchise, master franchises, where we really educate one and then help them educate the others, that they're going to have under them. So that's one of the ideas that we're kind of looking at. But yeah, overall, what we're finding is that we really need people to get to us. I've always said to consultants, just give the basics, tell them how nice we are, that we're easy to talk to. They're not making a commitment by talking to us, and get them to us so that we can explain it in the best possible way. But we are trying to do our best to get materials out there that make it simple and don't make it like we're moving towards being a lifestyle brand too, which I didn't mention to you before. Lifestyle brand meaning kind of like Harley Davidson, that idea that this is a lifestyle. This is women living their best life. It's not just about weight loss. It's not just about relieving myself of hormone symptoms. It's about living my best life, everything, anti-aging, my skin, all of those things. So.
I mean, unsolicited advice. Like, I think
Yes.
go back to this cartoon that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Within the framework of a pill is medicines or whatever, and the chemistry of those medicines, the combination of all of those things, ingredients, ends up equaling a pill, and so that you swallow the pill and it has all the chemical makeup that's going to create solution. You think of Ozempic. Same thing. Like, it's not just like a shot. There is something that's being shot into your body that is changing the way that your body is processing or thinking about what is going into it. And so I think about all of these things that simplify it. A car, you get in your car, but beyond that car is an entire system that has to work cohesively together to get it there. If I think about you, and two sides to this, and I think it's valuable for the broker and it's valuable for your customer, you have to pill your brand. Meaning, if you just come out and talk about like it's
right.
We balance we're a hormone balance company,
yeah,
then that equals weight loss, and don't get into like all of the question marks. What you've done is you've built your brand as the pill. And then let the magic happen underneath, which then is a lifestyle brand, the holistic approach to looking and feeling better at any age or any experience level of life. Like, all of a sudden now you're creating the solve. But I think for you, it's almost like you got to like zoom out of your brand and say, how do we make this the pill? And when that pill is set, we don't need to get into the chemistry. It's an airplane. You don't get on and say, how does this all work? You go take your seat. And so you got to get to that level. You get to that level, then you'll be a competitive brand in the space, which clearly is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Absolutely. And you know what? You're right about that. Our goal has constantly been, how do we simplify? And we realized, we even had some experts look at our website and say, the messaging isn't clear enough. We're like, oh my gosh, I've always known that how we communicate this to the world is so important. Now, we did have someone come in. I don't think I told you this, Nick, and I think it's huge. We had a woman come in. Her name's Diane Rizzio. She was an executive with LA Weight Loss, which was a multi-million-dollar weight loss company, in the past. And nothing's inspired her since that. And this totally inspires her. And she's the one that helped us understand what the real purpose is. Even when you're dealing with the retail, you're not trying to educate. We have some of our franchisees get so caught up on educating them on, let me tell you the difference between this and other things and the science and all that. People don't buy on that. They buy on emotion. And so we have to be their cheerleaders and say, what are you looking for? What's your dream? I want to fit into this dress for my daughter's wedding, or I want to be able to deal with my grandkids, or I want to be able to be a better wife in with whatever way, I mean, those kind of things. That's their dream. Let's focus on that. We can help you get there. Keep it the pill, like you said, not the pill in a bad way that it's medical, but pill, what you mean by the pill, which I love that point, that's a great point, is make it simpler, simplify it, condense it, because that's what people want. America's fast moving, and right? Is that what you're?
Well, yeah, but look at what Weight Watchers did for what it was. It's like, we're going to eliminate calories and fat counts, and we're just going to make points. And here's how many points you have. And once you hit those points, you don't have any more points. Stop eating. And if you do this based on the markup of your body, you're in essence, all it was doing is training a calorie deficit, but it made it so simple because calorie counting could be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calories, getting up to 15 points and knowing like, okay, I've eat my max. Oh, I worked out. I got 5 more points coming. They simplified it. And so weight loss was tied back to simplicity. And the reality is what you're doing is quite simple. It's almost like your pickup line at a bar is a 10-minute pickup line where you should just come up and say exactly what you said. Like men are losing X amount of weight, women are losing this amount of weight, and it's not anything magic. It's just simply we're finding the imbalance in your system and replacing it with balance. Like,
you're right. No, you're right. It has to be kept simple. And what we're trying to get our the franchisees and the staff to understand is if you get excited about the science after they're on the program, you could talk about it all you want. That doesn't matter. But before they're on the program, you need to get their attention. You need to fulfill their hopes and dreams. It's about, you're selling hope is what you're really selling, the hope of reaching that dream. And that needs to be kept simple and focused on them, not on how great we are or how cool it is. It might be great, but it doesn't matter. Majority of people, it's what I want in my life,
Well, the magic thing that then you have for franchisees when you're selling weight loss, you're selling measurable impact to people that want to make a change. And the reality is, and you'll hear plenty of nutritionists say it's not about the number on the scale. No, it is, because that helps on mental stability too. And so you're solving it. And so to the customer, it's very easy. You're selling weight loss, which in turn builds confidence, which in turn keeps that customer coming back for all of the other additional things because you've shown them a pathway to feeling better about themselves. And so to the franchisee, like the brokers end up not being an issue then because you're a weight loss franchise. That's it. Like, don't go far beyond it.
And by the way, it's funny you say that, Nick, because I'm not going to name who it is, but we're ending up working with, it was a connection through Diane and Patty, who works under her now, who was the #1 center with LA Weight Loss, is working with us as well now to help train the franchisees to get them to understand. But anyway, we now have the chief marketing officer of a big wellness brand. They have 700 locations. He's retiring recently, and he's helping us. And he made the same point that you're making. You know what I mean? It's just interesting. Yeah. He said you got to focus on, and I said to him back, and I wanted to, I don't know if I've ever told you this, is that it's the weight loss and the stubborn weight and all the menopausal symptoms, but they won't come in for that. They come in for the weight. After they do, but interestingly, after they do the program, they are as happy about, I'm sleeping through the night, my energy's up, my mood is up. I'm as happy about that as I am about the weight loss, but it won't bring them in. What will bring them in is I'd rather look good than feel good. That's what it is. So weight loss first.
Well, look at Ozempic. Ozempic is not a new thing. It's the way that they message it that changed it. Like if they start talking about the impact on type 2 diabetes or that it could decrease the risk of heart attack and stroke, people are like, yeah, that sounds good. And then they're like, no, it can magically make you lose weight. And they're like, oh, I'm in. And
exactly.
But it's like, that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, that's why I keep saying like the scale is the most valuable asset to a human being's mindset, because when that number drops, obviously all the other benefits that happen, but when that number drops and they're like, oh, I have not moved that scale. I work out every day. But when that number drops, now all of a sudden they're like, I am bought in. And exactly. It gets sticky. So,
well, no, and you're right, Nick. And you know what? I feel like we have an advantage. I call it like the triple threat, or it's almost like success for dummies. It's in normal weight loss. It's I've lost weight, so it makes me feel good and encourages me. With this, it's losing weight, it's losing it fast, but at the same time, I'm sleeping deeper, my energy's up, my mood is up. When you put all that together, how do you stop? Like, of course you're going to want to move forward. It's additional things. Like in normal weight loss, you can say, I feel better. No, these women are literally, it's not just, yeah, I feel better. It's no, I wasn't sleeping at all. Now I'm sleeping deep, or I had hot flashes. Now they're gone. I mean, these are big, big things in addition to the weight loss. So it's so encouraging for them to want to continue. So that part's exciting, but I still feel that we haven't broken through. We believe we will, but we haven't broken through to the world of, oh my gosh, right now. I'll just say one other thing. I'll tell you that HRT is coming back big. Why is HRT coming back? Because of stress HRT is a medical way to deal with your hot flashes, mood, sleep, energy. We're a natural way to do that. Over here, you got Ozempic. Here's a shot for weight loss. We have a natural way of doing that. So we have the natural way of these two things coming back, come together. We're solving both of them in a better way with no side effects. But why isn't the world rushing to us? It's just they got to understand it's got to be simple enough for them to get. It's not ever existed before, really. So.
Well, it's the self bully and the real bully in life ends up being what you look here, and so that's where when the narrative shifts. And again, I would encourage you, same thing for your franchise buyers, to the brokers. You're a weight loss franchise. You're dropping pounds, and when you drop pounds, the customer retention is so strong. And so when you think about customer retention, you could go buy a lash business, you go buy a lash franchise. And yes, they're going to look in the mirror and they're going to feel good until those lashes fall off. And then the hope is that they're going to come and spend more money to go get those lashes that they could go get in the store. And you could do weight loss at home, but the stickiness of the feel good factor is less than that of weight loss. And so if you're saying like, look, similar investment size, our members, the retention is X percent. Our attrition, we actually want them to eventually go to attrition because that means we've done our job. Like there's a way to position this back to the franchise buyer. So it's very easy for them to understand, especially if you can start aligning how much money you're driving. Because if the marketing's good and you're driving customer in, then how much to get in and how much I can make will be sound. So yeah, David, in closing, anything else you want, if a franchise buyer has watched it up to this point, anything else you want them to know?
No, I mean, I would just say that to me, the part that we feel is very exciting right now is after COVID, especially wellness is huge. And we are really honed in on a message of, especially for women. I mean, it helps men too, but for women solving these two big issues, they couldn't solve any other way, really. And it's a natural way of doing it. And we find that the people that want to own a business that makes a difference in the world, and there's other ones, there's children's education, there's senior care. This is one of those. This is one where our franchisees are passionate. They love what they're doing. They're a part of it. You don't have to be, but a lot of them are, I want to be involved because I'm changing women's lives and I feel like a hero every day. So that part, it's very fulfilling in addition to the building of a business and growing and making money too. You know, it's both.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I love talking to you every time I talk with you. I appreciate you doing this. Thanks for sharing some of your story.
Sure. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
For David, I'm Nick. This is another episode of Meet the Zor.